So an aerial map showed that this Jebel El Lawz had a large valley. We felt that there was a high likelihood that those stones would still be there, and so we found those.
Hello and welcome to Maranatha. I'm Gene Markland.
And I'm Martha Markland.
And we're glad you joined us
Yes.
tonight. We've got a very exciting program lined up, don't we, Martha?
We sure do. It's going to be very, very interesting. I'll just go ahead and tell them. We're going to have Ron Wyatt with us, and if you've been reading your papers within the last couple of months, you might recognize his name. Him and his sons were held in Saudi Arabia. They're archaeologists, and they were over there looking around for a lot of things that the Bible talks about and we just hear about. Well, he got to see some of them, and he's going to be talking to us about them. It's real exciting.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about things like Noah's Ark,
Yes.
the pyramids, Mount Sinai, the Red Sea, where they crossed the Red Sea,
Covenant of the Ark.
the Ark of the Covenant,
Giants. Remains of giants.
Yeah.
Yes, it's exciting.
Just a lot of things. We've got some drawings and pictures for you, and,
Yes.
and just a lot of real neat things for you. Also, we have with us Ann Lobdell, who will be singing a couple of songs for us, and of course Nancy White
Yes.
is here. And
This is our 4th of July program.
4th of July program.
Yes, it'll air the 6th, but we're taping it on the 29th, so it's really 4th of July falls in between, so we've got some patriotic songs for you tonight.
But right now, we have Ron Wyatt. Ron,
Hi,
welcome to
glad
Maranatha.
meet you, Jane. Thanks.
Glad you're here.
Yes.
Now, you've been on, I say, Good Morning America, and what are some of the other programs?
CBS Morning News.
Morning News. I mean, a lot of people wanted to hear what happened to you. You and your sons were doing work in Saudi Arabia, right?
Yes, right.
And tell us a little bit about what happened.
Well, we had permission from the local officials to investigate a mountain that our research indicated was the real Mount Sinai, where the law was given, the Ten Commandments. And we were proceeding to do this in what we felt was an orderly manner. And we apparently got close to some missiles that were
I see.
either being transported to the area or set up in the area. At least this is what the State Department said. And when we got ready to exit the country, at customs they arrested us.
Okay, now who arrested you?
The Coast Guard is in charge of customs, and they were the ones that arrested us.
Okay, now when they arrested you, where did they take you?
They took us down to their Coast Guard headquarters, and we met some people there that were quite friendly at first, but we found that they weren't all this friendly. We went through some 3 different periods of interrogation, and the first was by this Coast Guard group. They had a general there that was commanding this, and he interviewed us or interrogated us through an interpreter. And I've never yet been quite convinced that the interpreter told him
What you were
what you
telling
were
us.
saying.
right. Yes. But anyway, after that, then we were interrogated by the General Investigating Office that was in charge of that area. I think their office is in Tobuk. And then after that, they sent some people out from the ministry. This is the kings from Riyadh, you know, the seat of the government, and had a few questions for us too. And during this time, of course, they kept us separated so we couldn't get our stories together or whatever.
Right. Now,
But,
how long were you held?
78 days total.
And what did it feel like? I mean, did you feel like you were going to be in there forever?
Well, there were times when it looked that way, right. In my archaeological research, I always pray about whether I should go, you know, on a trip and if I will be successful before I go. And I asked for a little sign, you know. This is the only way I have of communicating with God. He doesn't speak to me, you know, like he did to Abraham, some of those folks. But anyway, I was assured that, you know, we would find the mountain and that we would get back safely, my sons and I. So when I wasn't being harassed too severely, I could, you know, be at peace with this in mind. But there were a few times, you know, when this didn't seem too likely that we would get out.
Now, who got you out? How did you get out?
Well, they didn't tell us a whole lot. We were held incommunicado. They declined allowing us to talk with a representative of our government, which international law requires that they do. And so we were pretty much in the dark. They would, after the preliminary or the main interrogation, periodically they would take one or the other of us up to this head honcho's office and ask us a few more questions. And I think they were getting these questions from their archaeology department. They were seeing if we really were archaeologists or if we were Israeli spies, which is what they accused us of being.
So you were getting ready to leave the country when they stopped you, right? Were you like going, get ready to get on your plane? Going through
Well,
customs or
we had come into Jordan and into Amman and then flown down to Aqaba, and this is about 10 miles from the Saudi Arabian border. So we went through at that point, and we were exiting at that point until this event.
I see.
Anyway, back to the other question. I'm not sure who got us out. Some people talked to Congressman Boner's office, and I understand that he put some pressure on. I met him down to the airport the other day and thanked him in person.
Yeah.
And there was some congressmen and senators from Kentucky. I have some relatives there. And some friends, James Irwin, one of the astronauts. We had discussed archaeology quite a bit and were planning to do some things together. He was aware that we were over there, and unofficially he had some people in some other governments put a little pressure on, and so something worked. One day they came to us and said, "You're going home today."
I see. That was some ordeal, I tell you.
Yeah.
Well, what'd you find over there?
Well, in Numbers 24:4, for the people in the audience that are Bible scholars, it says that Moses rose up early in the morning and set up 12 pillars of stone and erected an altar. All right, we felt that this would still be there because people in that part of the country, the Bedouins and a lot of these people, their agreements, instead of being on paper, they set up these little things of stone, which apparently they have some means of interpreting what these little stacks of stones mean. And so all these things are left alone. They're not necessarily sacred, but they are just things that, you know, people do not bother. We felt that there was a high likelihood that those stones would still be there, and so we found those. And they appeared to be intact. There had been some sand blown in over up partway on the north end of the altar and some of the stones on that end. And one of the stones had been tipped over against another, but there's 12 stones sitting there in a half circle in the altar right in the mouth of it. And this is facing east because God was quite particular that his people did not worship the rising sun, and that their backs were to that. And that was quite a thrill to see that.
And how long have you been doing archaeology?
Well, I've been an armchair archaeologist like a lot of people for more years than I'll mention, but we started making field trips in 1976. And so we have averaged probably 2 to 3 trips a year since that time.
Oh, I see. And as far as the funding and things like this, do you just finance yourself, or is there a group maybe that donations or anything like that?
Well, we pretty well finance ourselves. I'm a nurse anesthetist, and we make a fairly good salary.
You're a what?
A nurse anesthetist. I put people to sleep for surgery.
I see. Okay.
Right. And so I just save my own money mostly. There have been some people that have helped, and we, you know, appreciate that. And so basically what we do, we work, and when we get some money ahead, then we go on a trip. And it's always quite a thrill to me. I freelance. Primarily I work at Nashville Memorial Hospital out in Madison on Due West. But I do freelance, some at Baptist Hospital and other hospitals. And so people start calling me, and I start getting all kinds of work. something tells me that it's about time for another trip.
Mm-hmm. The Lord
That's
lets
the way
you
it
know,
always
doesn't it?
works out, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Lord said to Moses, "Tell the people of Israel to turn back and encamp in front of Pi-hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea,